So here you have the best deck in Master Duel, and don't take my word for it or anything. I'm just basing it off of the official in-game usage stats, which basically if you check them out, you'll see that the top 15 cards in terms of win rate in Master Duel are just all cards that you will find in this Purrely deck. It's not Snake-Eyes cards, it's not Labrynth cards, it's the Purrely cards that have the highest win rate in Master Duel. So take that as you will. And then I'm sure if you're looking at this deck list, the first thing your eye should be drawn attention to are some certain cards that I chose to include, and you're maybe wondering what kind of war crimes am I making these cute little cats do? Well, I mean, first of all, let's not pretend that Purrely was not like the best deck for multiple months in Master Duel and didn't like terrorize multiple formats or anything. This isn't Purrely's first rodeo with a terrorizing a format or anything. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, the two is obviously you don't have to run these cards. These 6 cards that you see here, the 2 Thief Shifter, the 3 Dimensional Fisher, the 1 Rivalry Warlords, it's not the build you have to play. This is not a Floodgate deck on principle. You don't have to run Floodgates in Purrely to make it functional. In fact, just run the Ghost Trick cards instead if you have them, or you just run more Handtraps instead of the Floodgates. This deck will be perfectly fine about it. I kind of just included them here because I kind of wanted to test and see how they would perform in the deck like this, because the reason that I wanted to play these in the first place was because of Dimensional Fisher. Dimensional Fisher is actually just straight up a good card that synergizes with Purrely, or believe it or not. Well, not really synergize, but it helps the deck in the sense that it doesn't really hurt the deck at all, because you only really care about the spells hitting the grave. The monsters never go to the grave, so the Fisher doesn't hinder you at all. But it also turns off Effect Veiler, which is actually a card that can hurt if they time it well. So in the sense that the Fisher also acts sort of like half of a straight Purrely streak, giving you protection from Handtraps like Effect Veiler. Also, you can't get rolled under Dimension Fisher, and it just happens to be a game-ending Floodgate against a lot of decks too, so you know, why not run it, right? Yeah, and the main downsides with Floodgates like the Fisher and like Rivalry is that they're really not good going second. But Purrely, unlike a lot of decks that play these cards, which are like stun based and slow, Purrely actually has a very strong engine for going second. Specifically, you know, just jamming in Pretty Memories to break your opponent's boards, then Happy Memory to attack your opponent and just get your basically Happy Memory adds literally your entire deck to your hand during your opponent's battle phase. The Sky Striker, there's Eat Your Heart Out. There's a much better deck at taking advantage of the battle phase turn 2. But yeah, so that's why I wanted to include D-Fisher, and Rivalry is literally just you know, you flip this against Snake-Eyes, they actually just can't do anything because none of their X-Strike monsters are Pyro, and their Witch is also not Pyro, so they normal summon Ash into Rivalry, they just lose. And D-Fish Shifter is probably the most questionable one out of these 6 cards. It's really good going second because going second you can just play into boards with Purrely with attaching Happy Memory, and usually they're not going to put up much of resistance because they're under Shifter, and most decks can't really do much under Shifter. But yeah, going first is when Shifter's kind of wonky because obviously you don't have access to Happy Memory in the battle phase turn 1. And this is not a blind second deck, so you are choosing to go first if you win the coin flip. So D-Fish Shifter banishing your own Purrely quick play spells is not ideal going first, and honestly a lot of times you just end up pitching Shifter for your quick play spells anyway, so it's not that big of a deal to draw Shifter if it's dead, because then you can just pitch it. There are very high roll hands where you can Shifter yourself turn 1 and still end on a Nor, but that involves already opening like Delicious Memory and then your Plump getting 2 spells out of the grave in order to get the material, and then de-shifting yourself, which is like, I mean, if you've gotten that far, yeah, your opponent had nothing, you know, good for you, I guess. Or if you can open like Purrely plus a Delicious Memory, or if you're settled with like a Pretty Memory, you can end on an Interruption with a few Sleeping Memory draws and then a Shifter on top of that, that's okay. But I find myself half the time I just if my hand doesn't conclude more than 2 Purrely quick plays, I just end up pitching Shifter for one of my quick plays anyways. So yeah, but it's really good for going second. That's why I still included it, and it's the worst case scenario, dead cards are not dead cards in this Purrely deck, so it's fine. And the rest of the non-engine, Maxi, Infirm, and Gamma. Gamma's really broken this deck. This is probably one of the best decks for playing Gamma in the game, since you can bait Ash with my friends, you bait Maxis for your quick play spells, which you always have them, so you always give your opponent a chance to play into your Gamma, and if they don't have Gamma, just discard the, or if they don't have the Maxi or they don't have the Ash, just discard the Gamma. No harm done. It's not like sitting dead in your hand like it would in other decks. You can actually just make use of it as a discard. But one hand trap you'll probably notice that we're missing here is Effect Veiler. Unfortunately, Effect Veiler, you cannot play it under Dimension Shifter or Dimension Fisher or Dimension Shifter, so it's kind of anti-synergy there. Even though Veiler is a nice card to draw into, but it just has too much anti-synergy with the Floodgates. So if you were not to run these, I would suggest you run Veilers in place of the Floodgates. Also, a side effect of not running Veiler is you don't really have a lot of hand traps you can draw into on your opponent's turn off of your Sleeping Memory draws. It's basically just Ash, but if you already have Ash, then your Sleeping Memories literally can't draw you anything useful, because the Infirms are dead, obviously the Shifter is probably dead if you draw into it. Gamma's not good. Draw into Maxi is like, so the thing with Maxi is, yes, you can draw into Maxi, but Maxi doesn't draw you into any more hand traps that are useful, so it's not actually a true defensive card. It's more of a deterrent and more of a scare the shit out of your opponents so they don't commit too much, but you don't have anything to stop them if they do take the Maxi challenge. So yeah, hopefully they don't know that. And because you don't have many good things to draw into, sometimes if you have a Yeep set up with a Purrely Gnar, I would obviously I'll draw 2 from the Gnar first, but then when I Yeep to summon the X Purrely Gnar on top of the E Purrely Gnar, I sometimes just I'd like to not draw off of the Sleeping Memory, because again, you're not drawing into anything. There's not many hand traps that are useful to draw into off the Sleeping Memory, so instead you could just opt to keep the Gnar, X Purrely Gnar, and not play into Kuriakara, since Snake-Eye is a deck and Snake-Eyes can't search Kuriakara. So yeah, that's something to consider, just not drawing in the standby phase of Sleeping Memory after you already summoned the X Purrely Gnar. And that's like the explanation of non-engine. The Purrely cards don't really need much discussion. Literally, this is the same ratio in every single Purrely deck. You're just maxing out on all of the good ones: 2 white, 3 black, 3 my friend, 3 happy, 3 pretty, 1 delicious, 3 sleepy, and 3 stray street. I think this is I think you should be running on this now, especially since you don't have like the full 3 delicious memories, so you do have space to run street. It just lets you just ignore Veiler and Infirm, which are common cards. No, that's very powerful. Also very powerful is against Rescue Ace. They're trap cards, they target you. So here, they're Contain and they're Extinguish. They target effect monsters. So you play straight Purrely Street into a Rescue Ace deck that set their trap cards thinking they're safe. Well, you literally just play this and you turn off their entire back row. It's like you activated Danko Seka basically, because now their Rescue Ace cards are all dead. They can't interact with you at all, and then you can just do whatever you do your Purrely plays unhindered. And it's also, you know, good for, there's other card decks that put up targeting forms of disruption too, and you know, SP Little Knight I think also has an effect that targets. So yeah, when SP comes out and if there's just an SP chilling on the field, you can play this and the SP doesn't do anything. Or even if they have IP into SP, it forces them to use their IP into SP on the street and not on your monsters initially. So yeah, I think this card's pretty good. It's something you want to see every game. And only we're not running the whatever the other Purrely trap is. yeah, this is so win more. Like, if you can get this off and you already have an Eep already, you already definitely won the game already. And you only need one Eep as well, because now it's super searchable with Eep Purrely and R. You don't really want to draw into this because it's free. So yeah, and then the extra deck, and this is without the Purrely stuff, so there's a bit more room for other stuff. 2 happiness, 2 beauty. These are and 2 Expert Noir. I think these are the only ones you need 2 of. You only need really 1 of Plump and 1 of Noir, because Plump Delicious is limited anyways, so you can really only go into this once anyways. And then Purrely Noir, you go into this going first. Going second, it's not as mandatory. These happiness and beauty are more important, and they're better for going into second and breaking into a board. Purrely Noir is like, it's good for your setup turn 1 if you're going first, but if you're going second, you probably have other lines of play you can do. And yeah, the 1 downer, the Zeus, Omega for the Gamma, Relinquished Anima, and Azalea, aka the SP Little Knight placeholder. So one thing I'll say about this deck is, I haven't played this deck in a hot minute, so I'm actually just trash, and this deck is insanely hard to play. It's one of the hardest decks to play in Master Duel. So if you're also not familiar with the lines of play of this deck, don't be discouraged, because it's definitely has a very steep learning curve. I think it's worth trying to learn, because this deck gives you a lot of tools, and many people will not be able to handle a well-played Purrely deck. Like, you know, if you're Pack, for example, you can definitely top 100 a Duelist Cup with this deck. I'm not quite there yet, and as you'll see in these 3 plays, I have a lot of mistakes to correct still with my gameplay of this deck. Alright, so Purrely is a very difficult deck to play, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't played Purrely in a hot minute, so a lot of this video is going to be me actually just misplaying my ass off on vid, and then me in post commentary correcting my mistakes, or attempting to correct my mistakes and showing you and telling you what to actually do. So speaking of what not to actually do, our opponent, okay, Prosperity, alright, into what is you doing, bro? Lil bro, Barrier Statue of the Abyss, what the fuck is this? Alright, so we already know this is gonna be a Gasleak game. You go Furniture, discard, rollback, add Dark Barrier Statue. What is going on? So anyway, I do have the Imperm, so I'm gonna Imperm the Barrier Statue, and my opponent, they've spent way too much time in the kitchen. They're gonna big welcome Labrynth, get out the Lady Labrynth, bounce back the Barrier Statues to hand. That's gonna trigger their Chandragolier and their transaction rollback, which are gonna chain immediately to the big welcome Labrynth. So they're gonna get out Ariana, and then big welcome's gonna bounce back their Lady to hand. They get the Chandragolier back, and then Ariana's gonna draw, and then they're gonna use Jarna's effect to special summon back the. Who the hell comes up with this line of refreshing a Dark Barrier Statue and Labrynth? What the hell is... So, in my defense, you know, I'm misplaying because I was not prepared for this. Because, honestly, I was a bit rattled after this. But, so we're gonna start with Purrely Street, right? And then I'm gonna normal summon Purrely. Wrong. Actually wrong. I can summon Dark Monsters. There's no need for me to normal summon this Purrely. What I should have done is use Happy Memory to summon a Purrely. Then Purrely, add my friend Purrely. My friend Purrely adds Purrely, and then normal summon the Purrely, because I can still normal summon the light after the Purrely. So yeah, I already started off on the wrong foot, so I'm gonna add Purrely, my friend here, and then my friend. I kind of realized right now that I could have added Purrely, but now since I already used my normal summon, that card Purrely is not going to be used at all this turn, which is a big mistake. You're gonna Archfiend Ghastly Glitch, target my friend Purrely, which you can just protect with Happy Memory. So, and yeah, target one card in the field, destroy. Then you can send one Fiend from your deck to the grave, and you know we protect it, so the Ghastly Glitch doesn't send anything, and then I revealed triple Sleepy Memory because so I was going for the the E-Purrely Gnar here because that's the only Purrely Xyz I can summon. But then I noticed in my extra deck, oh, I have non-Xyz monsters. I have this card called Azalea that can also just get rid of the Dark Barrier statue anyway. So yeah, there goes the Dark Barrier statue. Now I'm going to Purrely get use the third. This is so bad. I summoned 3 Purrelys in one turn. You're never supposed to do this. This shit's the hard ones per turn. Like this is absolutely the worst line you could ever take. Like it should not have gone this bad. But now I'm gonna equip happy memory. At least we get happiness out. At least we get the happiness in. And you can do this line where you attack into their monster, happiness triggers, adds another happy, and then happy, chain happiness, you know, attach, and go through all 3 happy memories this way so I could have a 4 materials on the happiness. And then the last one you search, I'm gonna search a 3rd copy of Sleeping Memory, activate Sleeping Memory, and then chain E-Purrely happiness. Now I have a 5 material happiness, and now I can go into X-Purrely Gnar hard make it on my turn. This is why this is also why I think you only need 1 E-Purrely Gnar, because this is only really used for going first. If you go second, you don't need to go through E-Purrely Gnar, even though it does have an effect to bounce. Like you just going to happiness going second is more than enough. You don't really need to go to Baby Gnar going second. And then yeah, end phase is gonna attach another Sleeping Memory, so I have 3 Sleeping Memories. Then I'm gonna detach 2 to bounce back their lady, and then I'm gonna draw 2 off of the happiness, and while I'm still being unaffected, they're gonna do stuff which, you know, thankfully we still, despite my super scuffed ass line, we still ended on a 5 material, 7 material X-Purrely Gnar. So at least they can't really do anything to my board this turn, and I'll just let them cook, you know, bounce back all their Labrynth stuff or whatever. I do have to be careful, so end phase I'm going to attach another happy memory, or Purrely memory. I start spinning their stuff right now because there is one trap that Labrynth has that outs Nor, and that's Daruma Karma Cannon, because it makes me send. It doesn't have, it's the Daruma Cannon is not the ones, you know, because ruling wise, the Daruma Cannon is not sending my X-Ray Gnar. I am the one sending it because it was not flip face down. So the Daruma Cannon is a trap that outs Gnar, which is why I started spinning their back door just in case they could have had it, because I know Labrynth's Daruma. And so I just spun all their back row, and then they're gonna get back one happy, what the hell is a happy Labrynth? But 1 welcome Labrynth. So their only interaction is a 1 welcome Labrynth, and then Eve is gonna put back all 3. All 3 Purrelys that I went through on turn 1 for some goddamn reason. Speaking of goddamn, top deck Ash Blossom for the big welcome. As just working off the rust, possibly one of the worst games of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever played. And despite how badly I messed up, you know, I was only the second worst player of that game, because, you know, what I realized, they had a furniture in hand for that in my entire turn. They could have chain blocked my first happiness, my first quick play spell, and then I wouldn't have been able to attach it onto happiness, and I would have lost. So just gas leaking all around us. So here's a game going second. Wanted, add Diabellstar, Max. I heckin' love Maxi. Maxi is my favorite card, bro. I love every game basically being warped by the existence of Maxi. So they're gonna go Ash into Poplar and add a original, which means they already have the Temple in hand, and then they're gonna go into Simple Nightingale. So they're gonna live, which it's fine. What's not fine is oh baby, a triple Purrely. You never want to see multiples of your Purrely cards, because you only have 1 normal summon, but at least you can discard them. So you're gonna activate Street, activate Delicious, see if they have like a Maxi or anything. Nothing. I'll make their Lyrics Assembled Nightingale unkillable by battle. You know, just do it for them. Skip the steps, get a Purrely. They're gonna get out there Flamberge, which I don't know why they scaled a Flamberge, to be honest, instead of another Ash, but you know, that's on them, and we hit up her Eep, so that's fine. Then you're gonna Popular set itself back, activate my friend. My friend is gonna reveal triple happy because they have a monster I can attack into. So I'm gonna activate PURRELY, add another my friend. They clearly don't have anything at this point, so I'm gonna go into Delicious, into Eep, PURRELY, Plump. I'll take. Give me that Wanted out of your grave. You ain't drawing cards next turn. And then PURRELY, I'm gonna use a Happy Memory into Eep, PURRELY Happiness, and now we do the Yippee, the attack into Nightingale. Add another Happy, reduce Floowandereeze's attack, activate Happy, activate Happiness, and yeah, this is where they messed up. So people aren't used to playing PURRELY again for some reason, and they just will not chain block your stuff. So they could have just prevented a free attach off of the Happy Memory. It wouldn't have mattered because I had an extra attack, so I could have just attacked and got another quick play from my deck and just used it again, so I could have kept going anyways. But yeah, this Happy Memory did not need to be attached to the PURRELY, the Happiness for free. But you know, it is what it is. You know, people gotta learn how to play against decks again when they haven't played against for a while, and they're gonna add a Subversion, and this time PURRELY is gonna hit a Street, which is I guess fine. I'll take the extra. I'll take the free card. PURRELY's gonna attack again, add another Happiness, attack again, add another quick play from deck. I just love just adding 4 cards to my hand for free, and then you know, PURRELY Happiness once again. I gotta get that one last attack, bro. Attack over to Popular, add a Sleepy. And here I'm gonna activate Sleepy, attach it to Plumps, because Plump is at 4 materials, so I can attach it. So now when you attach this, it'll be at 5 materials. And you know, at 5 materials you can, no, I should have done that first, you know, maybe play around Niv, but yeah, go into PURRELY Narv with the 5 material Plump. Then you PURRELY using the effect of Pretty Memory to sack off the PURRELY Stray Street because I already have another one, and then attach their Nightingale just to remove them of all their monsters, and then activate PURRELY Street and set a card. And then PURRELY Street, I'm going to attach a memory off on X-Blade just to get a 7 material so that I can use it once and still be unaffected. But I'm not going to draw on the standby phase because I know I'm playing against Snake-Eyes, and Snake-Eyes does have a potential to play Kurikara, so if I just drew off a sleep memory in the standby phase off of the X-Blade that would have been and I get Kurikara, that would have been really bad, so I like to not to draw. Again, there's nothing you can draw into off of sleep memory that's usable besides an Ash Blossom, so it's not really worth the risk of playing the Kurikara. And we still have a expert in PURRELY Happiness that we will rank him into Eve if we need extra spins. I want to use the spins on this X-Blade last, so it plays around Kurikara the most. And this is the X-Blade that's not made of Eve, so it will stay on the field for forever instead of like the Eve, which will go back the extra in a turn. And they add a Subversion. They use Subversion. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot they added that to their hand, so whoopsie, there goes my beauty. And then they discard Miss, and I'm like, what the hell am I playing against? And they're gonna set another Wanted because they already have the original Sinful that they searched in hand. Go into Animadorn Archosaur, but the one that maybe they're not looking for it because they didn't really use the effect, and then you're gonna original Sinful. I'm just letting all this go because you know they can't interact with my Nor anyways, so it's fine. Then gonna Ash, send, add Oak, add special Poplar effect, add another OSS, normal summon their evil monster. Now they have 4 monsters, so now they threaten Goddess. So here I'm gonna flip over the Eep onto the X-Blade, and then I'm gonna start spinning their monsters. But first I'm gonna spin their Diabellstar to put them out of Goddess range, and then they're gonna use their Dino in hand, discard 1, add a Leos, and set their Singularity, which is not going to do anything because we're not letting them get to an Exceeds. And X-Blade are going to spin the Leos again, they're going to chain Miss, so they had double Miss in hand. Cool. And then we're going to X-Blade just spin it anyways. It's still unaffected, and at this point I don't think they can search Kurikara anymore, so that's the last card in hand, Kurikara, you know, you got it. But that turns to be Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, so that's still doesn't beat this 5 material Noir, and they can do whatever they want. They're gonna go Oak, get another Poplar, and then Lambert, get these 2 out. And here I stopped playing around Goddess because I'm like, you know what? I feel like the chance of them playing Goddess is actually lower than the chance of because if I use X-Pro Gnar right now, it gets eaten by Ultimate Conductor right now. So that's kind of a tough situation. So I'm gonna put myself on losing to Goddess, but we're not losing to the already onboard Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Like, play to your outs, right? Or just hope your opponent doesn't have them. And their chances are they're not gonna have room for Goddess now that I see that they're playing like the full Evil package anyways, and their extra deck needs a bunch of Evil Xyz. So yeah, they didn't have Goddess, and they're gonna flip my other X-Gnar down face down for some reason. I don't know why. Then going to Princess, which I don't know why. I don't know what that's getting them. They clearly don't have an out to this X-Pro Gnar, so yeah, did I misplay somewhere there? Yeah, definitely, probably, but you know, not as hard as my opponent did. So that's all that matters. So here, we're ready for another Gasleak game. So here we're going second, and our opponent's on Flu, and I imperm the Eaglin just because I don't know, I don't want him to add N-Pin anyways, and they had the quick play spell, so and then they add a map, which means they already have another bird in hand, so it really did not matter what I impermed anyways. And I just want to say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is extremely hard, and I know on my channel I do make fun of my opponent's misplays quite a bit, but I am just the same as my opponent. The only difference is that I post videos of decks that I'm usually used to playing, that I have experience with. PURRELY is not one of those decks, so you're gonna all the good PURRELY players, you have all the permission in the world to just make fun of my plays and critique of what I should be doing, because I want to get better with this deck too, and I know I'm trash at it. So yeah, while my opponent gets N-Pin, and then N-Pin adds they add both back, add like unexplored winds, explore winds, put back 2 to try to draw 2, and activate map and set 2. So they didn't search Streaming Town, which makes me scared, because that means that they probably already have a Dreaming Town, right? And that's why they searched the winds. So I draw Ash. You know, would have been nice to draw that last turn. That's fine. I'm gonna activate Street, and then I'm not gonna normal summon. So that at least we play around the map, and we also play around potential imperm and all that stuff. So PURRELY, activate my friend. They're gonna activate another Advent of the Adventure, another quick play spell, and add a Rabina to hand. And here I'm gonna use my friend. My friend's gonna add pre-memory, because I actually can't do it much with this N-Pin on the field, so I can do my plays, but I want to attack, you know, and do stuff like that. So here we're gonna go E-Pro Gnar, Pretty Memory, attach the Pretty Memory, and then set per Eve, and then summon another PURRELY, see if we hit anything. We don't. I have like a 50% success rate off my PURRELY hits, and now I'm gonna take their N-Pin, which is very relevant in Master Duel, because N-Pin is at 1, so as long as this N-Pin is underneath the AP Gnar, they do not have N-Pin access until they get rid of my Gnar, so that's funny. And then I'm gonna go Happiness, which is not as good because I can only make extra attacks on monsters. So I will enter battle phase and just search another Sleepy Memory, and then Sleepy Memory I will attach onto the E-Pro Gnar, which is I don't know if I could have done anything more. Like, again, this board looks ass. I'm pretty sure I could have done something more, but like the N-Pin was gonna prevent me from crashing with E-Pro Happiness, because then I wouldn't be able to. As long as N-Pin was on the field, I wouldn't be able to use E-Pro Happiness to add quick play spells anyways. But yeah, maybe I could have discarded E-Pro Gnar, but then they wouldn't have a monster on the field for me to attack into, and then I don't run the big white cat, so I have no way to go for game. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe I should have tried to end on a beauty or something. But yeah, I'm gonna attach another Sleepy on my E-Pro Gnar, and I have a feeling that they don't play Karikara, so I'm just gonna draw. None of these cards do anything. Even Ash right now, they have all the chain blocks in the world, so Ash really doesn't do anything. So now it's up to my opponent to not mess up. And I'm gonna X-Pro Gnar, send the map, so it's a hard once turn, so I already used it. And then one thing you gotta be worried about with Floowandereeze, so this card, this card you can tribute X-Pro Gnar with the what's this card called? The Unexplored Winds. So you actually have to get rid of, you have to split Unexplored Winds with your Explored Noir, even if it's unaffected, because they contribute your Noir under this. So they're gonna activate End Pin and then chain block it. So now I have to spin the Unexplored Winds so I don't get my Noir attributed, and now it's affected. So that's kind of cringe. And yeah, they're gonna add a Ryza, normal summon Rabina. Here I'm gonna Ash Rabina, and they're gonna call by the Ash. So fuck me, I guess. You know, we're just not resolving hand traps this game. And now they're gonna summon Toucan, add the Advent, and then here's where they mess up. Again, here's where the Gasleak comes in. Okay, Floowandereeze, I have a Explorer Noir on the field. They go street, target their own graveyard. So I'm gonna spin the card they targeted, and that's gonna cut them off their normal summons. They already used map as well, so they have nothing left. They have no more normal summons. And in the end phase, I'm gonna attach another pretty memory, so that way I can sack off the street and then attach the map. And here we can play for free, hopefully. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel like a lot of this deck is obviously really good, but also this deck is hard to play against too. So a lot of people will mess up against this deck, and those mistakes end up being incredibly costly, as you see. Alright, so here's a hand where we open Dimensional Fissure, which is incredible going first. However, we also open Sleepy Memory, only one memory spell, which is not quite as amazing. So we always activate D-Fissure first, that way they chain Maxi to D-Fissure, and then you can chain your memory to the Maxi to avoid giving your opponent an extra draw. That's another way to play around Maxi. And with one memory, you pretty much have to go from what to PURRELY. So if they had an Imperm, would have been kind of sad, but we're happy since they didn't have the Imperm. We go My Friend, reveal Sleepy, Delicious, add Delicious. So I kind of didn't even want Delicious Memory. I'm gonna be honest. Delicious Memory lets me hard make Noir on my turn, but since I'm already under Max C, I don't want to give him an extra draw, but I'm hard making Noir. So I would have preferred to add another Sleepy Memory and draw in an extra card, because I was gonna go Baby Noir, E-Pro Noir anyways. Since then you could make a Noir on your opponent's turn with Eve, and then that gives them one less draw on your turn. So I had to do Delicious Memory, and then E-Pro Noir sucks with Delicious Memory. The awkward thing is, even with Eep now, I only have 3 materials on this, so if this setup right now, I would only have a 4 material Noir on my opponent's turn, which it means it's affected by cards, which is cringe. Why would you want your cards to be affected by your opponent's cards, man? So because of that, I get greedy and I summon Lily from I summon a PURRELY from deck to try and hit an extra spell, and you know our cats are house trained, so of course we find the memory, and then I attach the memory to the E-PURRELY Noir. I'm not gonna summon another time because I'm not that crazy, but yeah, now it has 4 materials, means during your opponent's turn you can Eep into a Noir, and then they will have 5 materials. And then standby phase, you draw 1, and then Eep, go into the Exploring Noir. Again, you could not draw here and just play around the Kurikara, since there's nothing you can draw into that you can use besides another Ash Blossom, which, you know, spoilers, I did not draw into an Ash Blossom, so this Sleepy Memory draw just does not help me. And then we're gonna Infirm the Aleister, normal summon Aleister in the year of our Lord and Savior 2024, and yeah. So that was a example of how to play, how this deck takes advantage of D-Fissure and how it plays through Max C. But in all honesty, it's basically just shows the power of Dimension Fissure, because I doubt, literally, if we didn't have any PURRELY monster on the field, I feel like we still would have won the game with just Imperm and D-Fissure. So the fact that a deck as strong as PURRELY can also play these degenerate ass floodgates without hurting itself at all is that kind of ain't right. So honestly, if there's one thing I learned, is that playing on the Master Duel ladder, that this build may not be it, because you see I have this D-Fissure in hand, right? And I'm gonna Ash's Extravagance. You always Ash Extravagance, and then Kashtira. The amount of times I drew fucking D-Fissure or D-Shifter against decks that just do not give a damn about it, because people people hate playing Yu-Gi-Oh on Master Duel and they're gonna run the floodgates themselves, you know, my bad. So I'm gonna activate the Fisher to play around Valor. Don't worry, I'm not just activating this because I know it does nothing in the matchup. I'm activating it for now, and later on, I'm adding a Pretty Memory to hand because I already have a Happy Memory, so I'm gonna use Sleepy Memory. I baited out the Fender. They shotgun the Fender very early on the PURRELY, and they shotgun the Kashtira Birth very early on my first spell activation, just to I don't know, get rid of that. Get rid of the sleep memory in my grave. So thank you very much for shotgunning your interruptions. Now you have literally nothing, and I'm gonna use PURRELY to attach the Pretty Memory here. And here I'm gonna this is the whole reason why I played the Deep Vision in the first place, so I can get it off the field, so I can attach their back row, get rid of their final interruption, and then we're gonna Happy Memory. Again, thank you for using your Birth early, so that way I can just attach the Happy Memory, and then we go to town from there. Yeah, man. D Fisher, put it in work that game. So we'll see at the end of the month and after the new pack drop whether PURRELY will still in fact remain the deck with the highest win rate on Master Duel. I have a feeling that if it drops, it will be a large part my fault because I'm picking up this deck, and I know I'm definitely tanking the win rate a little bit trying to learn this deck, but you know, we'll see. And don't underestimate this deck just because it hasn't done anything for like a hot minute. That's just because it didn't have all its support cards yet, and we'd have PURRELY now, and with this in the game, I think this is definitely a deck that's like a legitimate high like tier 1 or at least high tier 2-ish level of a threat.